All right, Mr. Chairman, we are live.
Thank you. My name is Richard Riley, Litchfield Zoning Board of Adjustments. I'd like to call the meeting to order on September 9th, 2020 at 7:07 p.m. Here attending our virtual meeting this evening is John Devereaux, board member, Al Gabo, board member, John Brunel, Kyle DeRusso, alternate, which I will be appointing to the board this evening. So Michelle, if you could have the record reflect that, and myself. So we have 4 board members present this evening. Michelle is our recording secretary, so she will be taking minutes for the meeting. Ellen, I know you're here on the call with us as well. You are the applicant for case number 2020-05. That is the first item on our agenda. What we will be doing is going through each of the 3 cases, 2020-05, 06, and 07. We'll go through those one at a time. Normal course of events would dictate that we hear from the applicant. You would explain what it is you're seeking in terms of the variance, addressing each of the criteria required, and then the board may ask some questions. Once we've gotten through that review, the board will open the meeting up to public input on your specific request. We'll take any public input that may be out there. Once we've completed that phase, then the board would close public input, and we would deliberate on whether to approve or deny your request for variance. That same process would be followed for each of the other 2 cases. Again, we're going to start with 2020-05, and I'll just actually, John, for me to share the screen, I can just do that right now myself, right?
Correct.
So that means I am sharing other applications. Or am I sharing my screen? How do I do that?
I'd recommend you share your screen. So it'll be screen 1 probably.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. How's that?
It's good. Just expand the document so we can see it.
You need to be able to see the tree.
So this is the application for 2020-05. The address 55 Charles Bancroft Highway in Litchfield, New Hampshire. The owner is VAB Properties LLC. Their address is listed as 104 Pinecrest Road in Litchfield, New Hampshire. The location, map 1, lot 19. And there's a description of the property. The property actually resides in the southern commercial zone, and the applicant is seeking a variance from section 1204-00B. And this is a variance to permit an off-premise sign. So, Ellen, if you are prepared, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and do your presentation. Again, just briefly explain what it is you're trying to do, address the 5 criteria, and then we'll start to ask some questions.
Sure. My name's Ellen Boucher. I'm a member of VAB Properties. We are seeking a variance for an off-premise sign, meaning that we also own the property map 1, lot 18, and map 1, lot 19. The freestanding sign would be for our new approved site plan for Litchfield Storage, which you're probably already aware, as most of it's already up. And due to the sign that's already out there on the other lot, I should say map 1, lot 19, we're seeking the variance to put up a sign, since you're only allowed to have 1 sign per lot in the town of Litchfield. So therefore, we're requesting approval to put a freestanding sign on the lot which I know gets a little confusing, map 1, lot 18, map 1, lot 19. So if you want to refer to it as the lot with the, I call it the farmhouse, which is adjacent right to the DLB paving shop. So that's where we're seeking to put the freestanding sign.
Okay. I've scrolled down to the map. I don't know if you can see the map, but this would be a map of lot 119, correct?
Yep, map 1, lot 19 is the house lot.
Okay.
Map
Well,
1, lot 18 is the rest of the site. The actual Litchfield storage site is on map 1, lot 18. So if you can dig out the small section of the house on that site.
Probably what, blowing
It
this up a little. Am I gonna see it on this drawing or do I go to a different drawing?
Let's see. Hold on.
Is
No,
the
you'll
house-
see it right on the. I'm sorry, I can't point it out because I'm not on the on your website there. But do you see any on that site? Let's see where it's showing the. Yep, keep going. So that small square.
Yeah, it says house. So basically right on Charles Bancroft Highway is the house. And then the buildings
Yep,
are,
the house. Yeah, those were the old, I think, greenhouses that were there. But yeah, so on that that house lot, that is an actual house lot that they scraped out at one point, and we're looking to put that freestanding sign in the front there, in front of that house.
okay.
Rick,
So
on this,
hold on, the building is on, the business is on map 1 lot 19, but you want the sign on map 1 lot 18, or is it the other way around?
We want the sign on map 1. Let me see, I just want to make sure. Let me just grab my papers here, hold on.
So guys, I don't know how well you can see it, but this house, I don't know if I can't really draw a line around it, but there is a square that's carved out with this block that's labeled house. That's titled map 1 lot 19. The other lot, which is sort of around that and behind where you see the storage units, those are all on map 1 lot 18. So I believe they're putting the sign on map 1 lot 19.
Correct. That's right. The storage facility is actually on map 1 lot 18, but we're proposing to put the sign on map 1 lot 19,
Okay.
which has the house. I call it the farmhouse adjacent to or right in front of our storage site.
Okay. All right, and map 1 lot 18 already has a freestanding sign, which I don't know if you have existing photos of it, but we can talk about that, I guess, as you continue.
Yeah, the sign that has the DLB paving and the licks. It's the taller freestanding sign.
See if I can shrink this down a little bit. Oh, I don't know if I have a picture of that.
I
Okay.
think Nope, it's just, it would just be what's out there now. There were no pictures submitted with for the DLB sign that's been out there.
Okay,
I
All
just
right.
sent in, what we're proposing for the storage site.
very good. All right, if you want to continue with the requirements, which is basically the application that you filled out, section 1.
The variance will not be contrary to the public interest because the variance will not alter the current character of the neighborhood or the community plan for development within this zone. Both lots, map 1, lot 18, and lot 19 are in the southern commercial zone, and which allows signs for commercial properties.
Okay.
Do you want me to just keep going?
Yeah,
And
please.
then, substantial justice is done because the lot is within a zone that permits signs, and it would be fair and substantial relationship between the general public being able to identify the Litchfield storage location. And then for number 4, the values of the surrounding properties are not diminished as there is no detriment in abutting properties, as there will be no changes to the property's character if the variance is granted.
And then number 5.
And hold on. Because the approved site for the Litchfield storage will have no signage or identification from both northern and southern directions, the type, style, size, and character of the proposed sign are consistent with the character of the proposed location, and the benefit to the public would outweigh any adverse aesthetic impacts caused by the sign. So due to the property being in a permitted zone for sign usage, the proposed use we feel is reasonable.
Okay, and I think we skipped over the second criteria, which discusses the spirit of the ordinance. And you're saying the variance would not violate any health, safety, or general welfare issues within the community or abutting properties. So
Correct.
that addresses the 5 criteria. I know I've got a few questions, but before I ask my questions, did you have anything further you wanted to add in regards to your application? Do you have anybody else with you that wants to speak? I don't know if you,
The only thing I want to bring up was, I think originally I had put on the sketch that we wanted to do uplighting, and I think that might be an issue with some town ordinances. So if we could do a downlight, on the top of the sign, facing down,
so
like the one chick farm street. I don't think you guys want lighting. Like, I was going to put something in the ground so it faced up, like a light facing up towards the sign. I believe down facing would be better.
it could, and that would potentially be something that you may need to work out with the planning board. But my reading of 1502.02, which covers design and lighting, bullet C, no lighting shall glare, obstruct, or interfere with vision of drivers on the road. I think that's where you're probably, with the item you're going to have to address, because we're not talking about an electronic message sign. This sign is not electronic. Is that correct? It's a wooden sign. Is that what it is?
Just a straight sign, no electronic, no reader.
Right. So I guess I'm not an expert on lighting. I don't know if an up light or a down light is better with regard to, glare or interfering with vision of drivers on the road. Other members of the board may have something to say on that, but I'm not sure that's an issue for us here tonight, to tell you the truth. Personally, I think one's probably going to work unless you put some huge spotlight that's going to be, shining 1,000 feet in the air.
No,
I would imagine
more just-
activity, either or. But I appreciate that. So let me ask you a couple of questions. I'll start out and then I'll open it up to the rest of the board as well. We did mention the fact that, just to clarify, the business is located on map 1, lot 18, and you're trying to put the sign on map 1, lot 19. And I think what you're saying is map 1, lot 18 has an existing an existing street sign. I think they call it an existing freestanding sign. Have I said that correctly so far, right?
you are correct.
All right. Now, that existing sign, do you know about how big that is?
That sign, no, but there's been a lot of issues with that sign over the years. So I didn't want to add to that sign.
Issues, huh? The reason why I asked is because you're allowed up to 32 square feet. That being said, I understand the sign you're looking to put up is a 32 square feet. I was just trying to ascertain whether you had room to put anything on the existing sign. I think they also, yeah, according to this 1503.01, .01A, says you can also add up to 32 square feet of reader board attached to the sign. I'm not 100% clear on what a reader board is. Maybe you are, having done the research for your sign yourself. But I mean, is that something, can you explain, why that wouldn't be something that you would put underneath the existing sign?
I just feel like a reader board is just something that's not going to be enough to show people where the specific area is for the storage site. It's more for saying, ice cream sale or more temporary use.
So reader boards, and I don't know if anybody else on the board here has a better understanding. I tried to do a little online research before I came on the meeting. Reader board is more of like just one of those white signs that you put lettering on. Is that anybody else's interpretation of what a reader board is?
That was mine, interchangeable letters.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. That's what I'd interpret.
I agree also.
All right. So it really isn't a great representation of another business, from what I can tell. I mean, what a reader board is.
No,
Yeah.
and like I said, we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible without changing a whole lot. But I just didn't feel the reader board was going to cut it for us.
Can you also talk a little bit about, I think I just heard you mention something about access or entry to the new business. The proposed location, the off-premise location that you're proposing, is that a better location for the actual entry to this business that you're doing?
The entry is where it is existing now. When you look at the plan, I don't know how many people have gone by it in the past, the dirt entranceway, which will eventually be paved. Is that what you're trying to find out, where the entrance is to get down?
Yeah, exactly. What I'm trying to find out is, so I've got the map, just so you know, I've pulled the map back up again for the rest of the board and the public to see. And so map 1, lot 19, whereabouts is that? I'm trying to think, the driveway.
If you see where it says existing sign DLB, I put an arrow to it.
Yep.
And I circled it, and I circled that. If you were driving from south to north, you would pull in before the sign to take a right.
Okay. So the proposed sign so the proposed sign location for the Litchfield self-storage is that just south of where and on the other side of the new driveway, basically?
Yeah, and more, I'd say, because of the setbacks, it's probably gonna be up in that, almost like in the, in the front yard. It's gonna have to go back a little further because of, state DOT regulations. They own about 66 feet from the center line of the road.
So it'll be pulled off a little further from the road, basically, than what it shows on the map?
A lot further, yep, and I did propose, I submitted it with Joan, showing where the proposed sign was to go, and it should be in your records there.
I believe it is. One more question on the other general requirements for the signage would be sign height. Do you meet the 20-foot height on the sign?
Yep, I have.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm not sure if I cut you off.
Nope, I'm just reading, it's gonna be, 7, with the posts on each side, those posts go to 7 feet high, and the rest of the sign is 8 by 4.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it.
Where it says two-sided.
Yeah.
To the right, that,
Got it. That's exhibit 2 for our viewers. Okay, very good. That covers any of the questions that I had. I'd like to ask the zoning board members, and just be aware that we're all kind of out there. Rather than go around the table, I'll just ask, anybody got any questions?
Did we get any public input or anything before we ask questions?
I don't believe I received any public input on this. Let me double check my files. No, I have a denial letter. All 3 cases, by the way, were posted in the Manchester Union Leader, as well as Town Hall, Library, and other social media. So no, I didn't have any other public letters here, John. And
Okay.
Ellen, I don't know if you had anything that you, in regards to that that I didn't get.
So just a quick set of questions. The driveway to the storage area is essentially going to be in between the new sign that you'd like to put up and the existing DLB sign. Is that correct?
correct.
And what's the approximate distance between the 2 signs?
I'm gonna say approximately, that's gonna be, let's see. Yeah, it is. Without having a ruler right here, let me just try to wing it a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. Wing is good.
Be approximately 120 feet,
Okay.
so
That's
south
good.
of the current DLB paving sign.
Okay. I think those are my main questions.
Hi, Ellen. I have a few questions here.
Sure.
Have you coordinated with the owner of Lot 119, or Map 1, Lot 19, for putting your sign on that property?
Yes, because we own it, VAB Properties owns it, we rent it.
Okay, excellent. And can you talk about a reasoning for not moving it onto your property, or excuse me, Map 1, Lot 18? Why do you think it needs to be on 19 in that location there?
Because we only, for the town, we will for the last 7 years, every time we had a tenant coming in and we tried to put up a sign, the town had said no, one freestanding sign and that's it per lot. So that was our one freestanding sign.
Okay, so this is your attempt to not put two freestanding signs on one lot.
Correct.
Right, the alternative, I think we just dealt with this at the lobster boat, I think. The alternative would be you can have the one freestanding sign and then you could put smaller signage on the buildings. But with this kind of a business, there really isn't, you know, it's not like a barber shop or something like that, or a restaurant where you can just put a sign on the little building that says, here's my business. These are multiple storage sheds, if you will. So I didn't think that even the signage on the building would really meet, you know, the spirit of the ordinance, which is to allow this kind of signage for businesses to operate.
Nope, that's all I had. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
All right, so if there are no further questions from the board, I guess I'll ask for a motion to open for public input.
I'll make the motion.
All right,
Devereaux.
I have a motion from John Devereaux, seconded
I'll second.
from Al. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
I,
All right, so the motion carries. So if there's anybody on the phone from the public that would like to speak either in favor or opposition, or just has general questions about this particular request for variance, now would be the time to ask the question.
Mr. Chair, other than the applicant and the members, there are no other parties in the call.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. All right, so we have no other members of the public. Ellen, before I go ahead and close public input, because once we close public input, we're not supposed to ask any more questions of you. So I just want to make sure, do you have anything further to add before we go ahead and close public input?
Nope, I'm all set, Rick.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a motion to close public input then.
will make a motion to close the public input.
I have a motion to close from Kyle, seconded.
I'll second.
Al seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so, general consensus of the board, do, you guys feel like you're ready to make a decision?
I feel pretty good about making a decision.
Yeah, I think based on the circumstances myself, I'd be inclined to approve the request. I'd like to go through the criteria, I guess, and let's talk it through and see what happens, and then maybe we'll be able to come up with a motion to either approve or deny. So on criteria number 1, essentially not contrary to the public input, public interest. Essentially, what the applicant is saying is that the proposed sign is in character with other signage in the area. And I think they're also saying that it would meet all other criteria except the one criteria being allowing a second freestanding sign on the property for a business that is, you know, another business that is on that property. You know, I would agree with what the applicant is explaining there. I think the spirit or the public interest is not harmed here, as well as the spirit, number 2. Anybody else? Agree?
I agree.
Al?
I agree.
How about Kyle?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here. I agree.
All right, substantial justice would be done. The applicant is saying the signage is already permitted. Type of signage is already permitted. And that by allowing another freestanding sign, it would essentially be a better representation of that the business is on the property and based on the location with the driveway and so forth, it is a good location as well. So, I think for those reasons, I think I don't see any harm to the public, so justice would be done. Anybody else feel the same way or feel differently?
I agree.
I agree.
Yep, same.
Thank you. Values of surrounding properties not diminished. Again, you've got a sign approximately, less than 200 feet away, similar size, does, the same purpose. We know there's additional signage on 12 Bancroft Highway. In this case, the sign is going on a property with a house, but they own the property. So I'm not sure there's any, there doesn't seem to be any impact on surrounding properties. I don't have any butters that have come out against it either. So I see no evidence that allowing this second freestanding sign would diminish the surrounding properties. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but if I can ask you to do the same thing.
I agree.
Agreed.
Yep, I agree.
Thank you. All right, number 5, legal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship. Basically, denial in this case would result in I guess them trying to figure out how to use the existing sign that's there. I don't know about you guys. I'm familiar with the DLB paving sign, and I think you could also say that there is some sort of a message board sign, I think, underneath it, or advertisement for the ice cream stand too. I think it would be difficult to put an additional sign of any substantial size to really adequately promote this new business that they're putting on the property. So I think in this case, little enforcement would result in a hardship. Again, the storage buildings are actually located, as you look at the map, they're kind of back and behind. And then you've got some that are on to the other side, which you may say, well, it's further away from where the driveway is, but that's the point. The sign, I would think you would want to be closer to the driveway so that as they see the signage, they know where to enter. I wouldn't necessarily propose putting the signage down further where these other buildings are that you can see, some existing greenhouses, I think. Because, I'm not sure, that just isn't a fair representation of how to access the property. That's just my interpretation. Anybody else feel the same way or want to say something different?
I know I feel the same way. I don't think that they're going to put any more signage on the DLB paving sign that's going to adequately represent their business. So I think this is fair. And I think it would result in hardship to try to make them do that.
I'd agree with that.
So before I take a motion on this one, I just want to also ask, Ellen did express concern about lighting. Does anybody here, again, I don't know if you have the ordinance in front of you, but 1502.02 design and lighting, which was amended on March of 2020, so fairly recently. I'll go through them. A, no reflective material will be used. It doesn't appear that that's an issue. B, no banners, streamers, etc. will be used. And C, no lighting shall glare, obstruct, or interfere with vision or drivers on the road. And then D, no changes may be made to the display of any sign which occurs more often than once in a 20-minute period, except for a time temperature display. We already know from Ellen's response to my question that their intent is to adhere to all of those requirements. They're only seeking relief from the second freestanding sign But my interpretation is, either even an uplight or a downlight, I think as long as it's reasonable, lighting that's being used, she can probably get away with both. So I don't see any need for us to address that here. And as long as you guys agree, then we could just handle a motion for, for the variance that's being requested here tonight, which is the second freestanding sign.
So Rick, my question would be, sorry, Rick, my question would be, did the planning board already approve the site plan? And will they be looking for more info back from us on the sign itself? Are they gonna have to approve the lighting?
My understanding is, the way the process works is the applicant has to come to the zoning board first, get the variance, and then before any signage is approved, it has to go back to the planning board. So the planning board's gonna look at this one more time and make any adjustments that they feel necessary. So to the extent that they've reviewed this ahead of time, I'm not sure how much they've dove into it, but I know that they do have the final say on this. So this application or applicant, when they're done here with us, if we were to approve, they've still got to go back to the planning board now and deal with them.
Could we make a motion to approve the sign, but not the lighting?
Up or down lighting, you mean?
Yeah,
Well, we don't have to, we could keep it void of lighting because I don't think the issue is lighting. It's not part of the variance. That's kind of the planning board thing. We're just approving whether we're going to approve the sign. And there's no discussions of it being outside of the zoning rules. And I think that's all we.
And I would also argue that my reading of 1502.02, it's not saying that lighting is not allowed. It's just stating that lighting, whatever lighting is used, shall not glare, obstruct, or interfere with vision of drivers on the road.
okay.
All right. So I don't think I'd want to take a hard stance and say no lighting. I'd rather just make sure that, that they, we approve one thing, and as long as they conform to everything else, the planning board, will probably help them through the process and they'll get their sign.
Okay.
All right. So since I went through the criteria, I will do the honor of making a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the request for variance from section, make sure I got this here, 1504.00B, to allow for a second freestanding sign which will be located off premise. Do I have a second on that? Actually, let me modify that. I'm sorry. A motion to approve a off-premise freestanding sign per plan submitted.
For case 2020-005, right?
Yep, for case 2020-05.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so I have a motion. I have seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? So that motion carries 4-0. So Ellen, I assume you're still on the line?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I think you heard the explanation on the planning board. I think you were already aware of that because I believe you and I had already exchanged an email on that regard. So.
Yep, I'll make sure I follow through with the planning board, and then I think it goes to the building inspector. So I'll make sure I go through the proper routes here.
Yep, that sounds good. So what we'll do now from here is Michelle will be working on the minutes. I'll be working on a decision letter which captures, the fact that we have approved your variance. and I will get that posted in the public file and also send you a copy via mail.
Great,
That should do it for you for tonight.
great. And thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, let me move on to the next one. Next on the agenda, we have case number 2020-06. Let me figure out how to get out of this. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I'm just going to pull up the case for 2020-06, so we have that document in front of us. Give me a second. So case number 2020-06, name of the applicant is Chris Coliandris. The address is 3 Bayberry Lane, Litchfield, New Hampshire. The owner of the property is Chris and Cheryl Coliandris. This is map 8, lot 184. And they are seeking a variance for an addition that was added to an existing shed. The existing now encroaches, I believe it's 9 feet into the 20-foot setback, so leaving an 11-foot setback where 20 feet is required. Do we have someone from the owner or applicant on the line?
Mr. Chair, I see no one else on the line but the committee.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Huh. Yeah, we've been on here for 49 minutes, so I would think if anybody was in, you haven't seen anybody pop on and drop off either, right?
No, I have not.
No. I have another one scheduled after this too. If they were on the line, I'd happily move to that one. Well, I've got 750 right now. And in fairness, especially since I made a little error in that agenda, I'm going to give them another 5 minutes. So if you guys want to mute or block your video, just keep an eye on the screen or at least listen. If we see somebody jump back on, I'll call the meeting back. But for now, I'm just going to take a 5-minute recess. And we'll join back at 7:55 p.m. Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Chair, do you have their phone numbers? Maybe you want to reach out and call them? Maybe there is
Well, that's what I'm going to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, check. I do. So I'm just going to mute this for a second until I can figure out how to do it. How do I stop viewing my screen?
At the top of your screen, you'll see like an orange bar. You click on that, you'll have a stop sign there, or stop sign.
Oh, there it is. Well, so I can actually stop my video and everything up here too. All right, good.
Yep.
Thanks. Hi, guys. I did get in contact with Mr. Colliandris. I just sent him an email message with the link that I used in the union leader, which should be the correct one. So hopefully he's done with you. I can give you the phone number, John, if you need it. Hopefully he's able to get in.
Okay.
Is this still the shed case?
It is.
Okay.
Oh. Hi, this is Rick. Oh. It is a publication. Let me just check, make sure what I sent you. That is going to be, hold on one second. I better unmute. John Brunel.
Yes, sir.
Let me check. What's the correct access code for tonight's meeting?
It is 163-089-3167.
Oh, okay. 163-089-3167.
Correct.
Yep, same reason for me. So I have 163-089-3167. Yep. Yep, try that code. Excellent, thank you. He's going to dial in. I don't think he's going to come in on the video.
Who is that?
That's Chris Coliandros, the applicant.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Coliandros. This is Rick Riley here. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. I apologize for not dialing before, but I kept dialing the wrong number and I kept getting a message, that this meeting hasn't started yet. So I ended up hanging up.
That's your fault. That's I sent you a heads up earlier this afternoon and I grabbed an older version.
No problem. No problem. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you.
All right. So I don't know if you've worked with the zoning board in the past. If not, I'll give you a quick overview and then we'll get started.
Okay, that would be great. This is my first time dealing with the zoning board.
Okay. So you filled out an application already. You probably recall that paperwork. In that application, there were 5 criteria for granting the variance. Starting off with contrary to the public interest, and so forth. Do you happen to have a copy of that application in front of you that you'll be able to refer to?
I do not, but I can, if you give me a few minutes, I can find it.
Okay. While you're looking for that, I'll just explain the process. Basically, what we're going to do is as soon as you're ready, we're going to ask you to go through your application, basically explaining what it is you're seeking, which I've already done. You're seeking a variance from section 310.00, and that's to add shed addition, which encroaches into the setback. I believe you're encroaching 9 feet into the setback, resulting in 11 feet, where 20 feet is required.
Yep.
So what we would have you do is, and again, this is ZBA procedure that all zoning boards adhere to. We need you to address the criteria yourself, explaining, the 1 through 5, why you feel that the variance is warranted. And then once you've done that, the zoning board, members of the zoning board may ask you questions. I'll point out while I have you here, since you joined late, I have 4 members on the board here with us tonight. Myself, Al Gilbo, Al DeRusso, and John Devereaux. They're all members of the board. Michelle Flynn is our recording secretary. She is taking notes for the meeting. So you have 4 board members present. A full quorum would be 5. You have the right to say you want to delay this particular meeting because I do not have all 5 members present, in which case I would look to put this on our schedule for October, the second Wednesday in October, or you have the right to waive that delay and just move forward with 4 members.
We'll be okay. We'll move forward. Yep.
Okay. So what we'll do is, again, I'll ask you to review your criteria. Members of the board may ask you some questions. Once we've gotten through that, I will open up the line to public input. What that means is if there are any abutters, neighbors, or any member of the public who wants to speak about this particular application, they may. Once we've gone through that, we will close public input, and then the board would deliberate on whether to approve or deny your request. So that's the procedure in a nutshell. And if you've got your application in front of you, I would
Yes,
ask.
I do.
All right, good. Then if you could start with, section 2, the first criteria, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because, and in your own words, if you want to explain that one and then just work your way through the list.
Yeah, basically there was an addition already. There was a shed already in the property. We purchased the place probably about 3-4 years ago. And what I did is I built a little platform between my neighbor's property and in the back of the existing shed. just to store equipment. You know, it was a 12 by 10 little platform. And a few months ago, I went ahead and I put a little roof over the platform with the 3 sides open. So the backing of the existing shed was used as the backing of the new shed. So I never really considered that, which is my mistake, my fault, as an addition. You know, I just built a little platform there, you know, to store some equipment. And then I was told that this is an addition and it has to maintain the 20-foot setback. And that's where my problem, you know, started when, and I was advised to go ahead and issue, you know, a variance request and so on. So that's a little bit of the history. And this is still on my property, you know. Yeah, it doesn't meet the setback of the 20 feet, but I don't believe this. Actually, it's not even visible from anybody because I have a fence in the back, you know, between my neighbor's property line and my house. And what I put in the application is under section 2, the addition of the shed is still contained in my property and not visible by others.
All right, very good. Keep going on the next point. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because?
Okay, this small shed does not alter the character of the neighborhood because it's not visible by the abutters.
All right,
And
next
again,
one.
that's my first time. I don't know if I answered those questions properly or if I need to have, I mean, if you have any questions, you can ask me later and I can explain to you what I'm trying to say here. So
That's what
Number
we'll do.
Yep. Number 3, the shed is still contained within my property. It's close to 11 feet, you know, from the property line. It's not really 9, but it doesn't make a difference. It still doesn't meet the 20-foot setback. And there is no harm to the general public because it's still my property, you know, and not visible by others. Number 4, the value of surrounding properties are not diminished because this small addition has no impact to the values of the surrounding properties for the similar reasons as above. You know, I mean, it's contained in my property and it's not visible by anybody. And number 5, let me find the page here.
Yeah, we did an addendum on that. I'll get to it here.
I cannot find it on my file here. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, it was in the back. No fair and substantial relationship exists between general public and or abutters. The purpose for use is to store garden tools, and I believe will not have any impact on anyone.
Okay.
Literal enforcement of the ordinance will have a significant impact on me because if you decide not to approve it, you know, then I'll have to take it down.
Right. All right. I just want to make sure I have that addendum because I know I had to add in that response number 5.
It's a separate document, Rick, in there.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I got it.
Now I remember what happened. Yeah, it was a change and I was requested to add that. You emailed it to me, I filled it up and sent it back. That's
Okay.
why. Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
All right. I've got it. If anybody on the board needs to see it, it's on the portal. I'll keep the application up since we've got pictures and so forth to go through. All right. So, Mr. Koliandis, I think you've gone through the 5 criteria as you had described it on your original application. So that's where we needed to start. So at this point, I'd like to open ask the board if they have any questions they would like to ask of Mr. Koliandis. Please do so.
did we have any a butter information pro or against or for or against the variance?
And that question is for me and Mr. Coliandros, or both.
That's probably you, Rick.
Right. So I had received an email message from an abutter, I believe. I believe they were notified by certified mail. Yes, they were. So it was a letter or an email, I should say, from a Norman Cataret. He was seeking clarification on the actual distance to the property line. Which was part of the reason why I made sure I got clarification from Mr. Coliandros on the application as well. And I replied letting him know that based on the application, they're seeking relief for 9 feet, resulting in an 11-foot setback where 20 feet is required. I believe I got a second letter from Mr. Cataret, an email again, saying that he had spoken with Mr. Dion and he stated that he had personally measured the distance from the shed in question within the past 30 days or so to the property line, and it is 11 feet. I am okay with that. As I have said previously, I wish this all be included in the official minutes of the meeting. So in that regard, I guess after he had spoke with Mr. Dion, who is our code officer / zoning administrator, it looks like Mr. Cataret expressed no, it looked like he expressed support, or at least he didn't express non-support of the application. So that's all I have on that matter. Now, I think Norm may have tried to get in this evening too, but I think that email, as I quoted, was all the correspondence that I have from him.
Okay. Second question is, in relationship to your plot plan, where is the shed located?
So that's
It's in, I'm sorry, is that for me? Is the question
Yes.
for me?
Just for the,
Okay.
yes, Chris.
I think there is a picture in the application.
I can see what I can find.
Yeah, I mean, my house starts from Bayberry Lane and ends in Albuquerque. I mean, my property, and that's about, probably, if I was to guess, I would say about 500 feet. And
Okay.
the shed is located in the middle of the property. So it's somewhere between Bayberry Lane and Albuquerque.
So is it near the pool that in your backyard?
It's on the, yes. If you're looking at the plot plan, probably you will see the existing shed there, because the existing shed was built prior to the swimming pool.
Okay.
I don't believe I received a plot plan in the application, just so you know. I'm going through it now just to make sure.
Okay. I know I did one. Do you have the pictures?
We have a number of pictures, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Or it's looking from Albuquerque. You will see the swimming pool on the left. Then you will see the house behind the swimming pool, and the shed is going to be on the right, looking from the Albuquerque.
Okay, so the shed is closer to your driveway than your pool.
That's correct. Yes, yes. Actually, the shed is at the end of the driveway.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yes, yes.
Do you know how big your,
Blow up pictures of the shed.
I'm
what's
sorry.
that?
Could you blow up the pictures of the shed? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, they said, if I was to guess, it's about 16 probably by 16 by 16, and the addition is 12 by 10. The 10 feet is approaching to Norm's property line, and the 12 feet is the width.
So we definitely exceed, what is that requirement? 100, anything, what is it, under 192 feet can be 10 feet from the property line?
Yeah, it's 200.
See, that was my mistake, because I did not really consider it as an addition. And after I talked to the inspector, he said, oh, no, this is an addition. So you have to take the whole square footage, the old shed plus the existing shed. Because what I was counting is at 12 by 10. I think the old regulation was 10 feet from the property line, if it's 140 feet or less. Okay. So I thought I was within the limits. But once I was told that we have to take the whole square footage, with the old shed and the new part, that's where I got in trouble, and that's why I have to apply for the variance.
Understood. All right. Any other questions?
I'm good, Rick.
I have a question. Wouldn't a building permit be needed in the first place to build this?
I was told after the fact that yes, I needed a building permit, and I applied for the building permit, and it was rejected because of the variance issues. And you're absolutely correct. I did not thought to get a building permit because I started with a platform, and then I just put 3 sides up without any doors, or it's opening with a roof on the top. I consider it like a porch or something. And again, as I said, I'm new in this type of business, never really build anything, without a permit. I always had other people come and build it, but they went through the permit and so on. So it's all my fault. There's no question about it. I should have gotten the permit, and then would have prevented all those issues after the fact. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, Rick.
All righty. All right, so if we're all set with the board, I'm going to go ahead and I'll ask for a motion to open public input. Actually, do I need a motion to open public input? Anyways, I'll make a motion to open public input. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Do we have any public on the line, John?
Other than the applicant and the members, no public are on the line.
So having no public members of the public on the line, I'll ask for a motion to close public input. I'm going to make a motion to close public input. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Before I do that, Mr. Coliandris, I want to explain, once we close public input, the zoning board is going to deliberate and give you a thumbs up or thumbs down, basically, on your request. After we've closed public input, we won't be able to take any further testimony or ask any further questions from you. So before we vote to close public input, I want to make sure we've heard all we need to hear from you. Is there anything more you want to add?
No, that's it. Can I stay on the line and put it on mute, or I need to hang up?
No,
how does it work?
You should stay on the line, and we're going to deliberate in public, and then we will reach a point where we're going to vote on it. So yeah, stay on the line after we vote. You can unmute, and we'll let you know what your next steps are.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, so I have a motion to close, and I have seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. So anybody else want to lead me through this? Do I have a volunteer?
I have a question for the board.
Go ahead.
Just a clarification. So, if I heard correctly, and that's what I need clarification on, if this addition and the existing shed was smaller than a certain square footage, it would be okay to be 10 feet away from the property line. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's correct. Section 310 footnote 4 indicates that sheds less than 200 square foot only need a minimum side and rear setback of 10 feet.
And it's way over that because of the addition.
I think because the addition, that's what put him over it, because he's at 144, right, or 120 with the addition, and then based on the pictures, I mean, that's more than 120 itself, the shed. So that combined square footage, I'd say, exceeds the 200.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
he described 16 by 16 for the original footprint, approximate. And then, I mean, that alone is at, what, 250, somewhere around there?
Right. Yeah.
So, and then the 120 added to that afterwards. So yeah, we're over the requirement, for the 10-foot setback, which is, I guess, why it's here.
Okay.
So I think you were going to help us to go through the whole 5 criteria, right, John?
Get the other one up. Oh yeah, right here.
The application up?
Looking at the criteria. First one is the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because if it was contrary to public interest, there would be feedback from the abutters saying that there's an issue with it. Is that true?
Well, I think that's one of them. I also think that in this case, sheds are allowed. In fact, sheds of a certain size are allowed to be within 10 feet, even though this is over that size. I think as he's described the location of the shed and, the fence that he has separating his property from the abutter where the 9-foot encroachment is, which I guess is the rear. A public interest here is for space and safety, and those other factors seem to negate any potential for a negative impact to public health and safety. I think he's okay in both one, and typically you can roll number 2 in with 1 unless there's some glaring thing that jumps out and says, well, it passes 1 but not 2. But there's so much alike often, the same reasoning applies to both.
Yeah, I'm good with 1 and 2, and 2 especially because, the intent of it is a shed, and sheds, a smaller size shed could be within 10 foot of the right of way. So, or the property line, excuse me. So I'm good with 1 and 2.
I'm not sure justice is done because I'm having a hard time with this one.
Well, in this case, I think what we're trying to do here is make sure that the benefit of the cap, that the benefit to the applicant does not outweigh harm to the public, or that
In that case, the improvement to the property with the addition, and it did look aesthetically, there was improvement to the property with the addition. So the justice is done by allowing this improvement with no negative impact to the abutters.
That's what I would say too. Yeah. So it's not outweighed by any harm to the general public or to other individuals.
Right. And furthermore, he's in the process of getting a permit for the shed. So I'd consider that, he's doing his due diligence to get the shed permitted, even though he realizes that he's in the mistake there.
And then we just kind of answered that with number 4. So it's funny that 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 kind of go together.
Agreed. There's no evidence that there'd be a diminished value to surrounding properties. The shed, the addition that we see in the pictures, you know, they sort of conform to the existing structure. It's you know, same building materials and so forth. So, and I think I can also add that I do have a letter from the abutter who is most impacted by this. And the letter is neutral, if not supportive of the application.
It's not negative, so that's
It's not
fine.
negative. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with number 5. Oh, I had that as a separate document. No problem. Let me just get to number 5. So basically, in this case, no fair and substantial relationship between the general purposes of the ordinance provision and specific application of that provision to the property. And the proposed use is a reasonable one. I think we can address B really quickly. Obviously, the shed, or in this case, the addition of the shed, to allow some additional space for storage of you know, typical lawn and household type items for maintaining your property. That's a reasonable use. So I think we're good with B.
Yeah.
I think in the case of A, you know, you've got someone who was attempting to add to an existing shed. There's a lot of logic to that, as opposed to building a totally separate structure in a different location on the property. And that you know, they have the fence providing some sort of barrier, visual barrier between the two properties. And then I also think you've got what did he mention here? I'm just checking over my notes. There was, oh, yeah, the distance itself. I mean, you still maintain better than 50% of the required 20-foot setback for a shed of this size. And it's also hard to imagine. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but you've got this requirement that says a shed under this size is okay at 10 feet, but a shed over that size isn't. I'm not sure what the logic is there. So it makes me a little more inclined to approve this kind of encroachment where they're still maintaining greater than 10 feet to the property.
And it's still reasonable. You know, proposed use is a reasonable one too. So A2 is still good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. No, I would completely agree with that.
So based on that, I mean, we've gone through all 5 criteria, and it sounds like we've got, you know, support. So John, you want to make a motion?
Sure. Let me see. For case number 2020-006, am I correct?
That's correct.
26. I would like to grant the variance of the 20-foot setback for the addition to the applicant's shed to encroach the 20-foot set in the amount of 9 feet.
So that would result in a setback of 11 feet.
With a setback of a total of 11 feet.
All right.
Motion.
We have a motion. I'll go ahead and second that motion. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? So that motion carries 4-0. So, Mr. Coliandris, I assume you're still on the line.
Yes, I am, and thank you very much for your approval.
Okay, so you've got 30-day period now from you know, this approval. Actually, to be more technical, it's 30 days from, I think, the date that we publish our minutes. But let's just say you've got 30 days from today where members of the public can appeal our decision. If you've been issued any stop work order or what have you, Proceeding any further at this point would be at your own risk. It's that 30-day waiting period that you want to make sure you get through, so that you know whether anybody's going to appeal our decision. And after that, our decision is final. If there is an appeal, you'll be notified. That appeal would go through the building department, so they would notify you as well as us, and then we would start the appeal process. But as long as no one appeals, you should be all set with your shed addition. Does that make sense? Do you have any
Thank you very
questions?
much. No. So the next step is to go and start the process to get the permit and go through the inspection in the whole 9 yards, correct?
Yes. I need a couple of days. We're going to type up a decision document, which
Okay.
essentially explains that we did approve your request, and it explains our reasoning for approving that request. And then that does get forwarded to the building department. So I would say within a few days, they will have a copy of the approval letter. I usually send out a quick email update just to let folks in the town hall know that, the outcome of these meetings. So they'll get that, but a more detailed letter will be forthcoming in the next few days. So if you give it, sometime into next week, early next week, and go back down to town hall, they should be ready to talk to you and explain anything you might need to do going forward.
Sounds great. Thank you very much again for your support.
Very
Have a
good.
great evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I may be faced with the same problem on 2007 or 20-07 where they might not have the same information. Let me see if I got a phone number for them. Got it, 30. All right, I have a phone number. Give me a second. I'm going to try Mr. Baca, who is the applicant on 2020-07. Hi, guys. So I just tried the phone number that I have on the application for Mr. Baca, B-A-C-K-A. I got no answer. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to fall on the sword in this and assume that I've given him wrong information. And I'm going to propose that we allow a postponement of this case 2020-07 until our October meeting, which in this case will be September, that's going to be October 14th at 7 p.m. And then between now and then, I'm going to reach out to the applicant, get this straightened away, and make sure he has the proper information and is ready to join us on October 14th. So unless anyone has an issue with that,
I second that motion.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to postpone case 2020-07 from tonight until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is October 14th, 2020 at 7 PM. Seconded by John. Any discussion? No, all those in favor say aye. Aye, and I saw Al communicated too, so that motion carries 4-0. So that's all I had for tonight. At some point, the board needs to think about appointing some officers, but it's already 8:30. I think we'll have that discussion next month. Hopefully, we just have this one case, and then we'll have a few minutes after that to be able to talk about electing chair and vice chair. So with that, is there any other business that the board would like to discuss?
The motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion from John,
I'll second.
seconded from Kyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, aye. All right, so this meeting for the zoning board is over. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everybody else for
John.
coming on too. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Have a nice night, everyone.
So, thanks, John.
Take care. Thanks, Russ.